after watching whatever, I think it's only like 20 minutes of a video of you doing the Duke Kahanamoku show.
Mm.
I was like, I didn't know a lot of these things, but it's also cool to see somebody play him and bring him to life. Like you say, humanize them. Because it's the stories that we hear. It's there was that one Waterman movie. That's a movie. I feel like the play, I don't know, it hit different for me. Just seeing you do all of that, especially like the beginning when he's just 4 years old and there's a little humor in that, and then you get tossed out of the boat. And I mean, actually, I would love for you to just share about that with that show, and I guess the inspiration behind it, and I guess where you can find it. I only found one video on YouTube about it, or maybe two.
Yeah, it's well, first of all, it was because it was created for the stage. We do have some, some clips here and there, but it was meant to be watched live, so that's why you won't be able to find a whole lot of, to see it.
Hanaho,
I'll get somebody younger to do it.
No, bring it back.
But creating that piece, okay, again, going back to him being the most humble guy in the world and trying to figure out how to tell the story, that's how I got the multiple characters. But before that, I started with moments in his life that were connected with the water. And because when you write a piece, it's like, where do I even begin? How do I, how do I put this together? So I started with I believe it was 4 moments that connected him to the water. One was when he first learned how to swim, because that happened right around the time of the kingdom coming down. So that's very significant, right? He was 4 years old, learning to swim in a time when our kingdom was being taken away. And that's a water moment. So these 4 water moments. The second one was when he shattered, not just broke, shattered the world record by several seconds, which is a big deal. And so that to me was sort of the ripple that went and never stopped, and it covered the world, because his story, he was one of the most famous people in the world. And it started with the moment he hit that water. So that's the second water moment. Oh, the third water moment. Oh, the third water moment was when he rescued those people in California. And that was just putting myself in his story, and him swimming out to that. So what happened was a yacht had flipped over in really turbulent water, and there were people in there that didn't, they were going to die. So he hops on his board, goes back like 4 or 5 times, brings back people alive, then goes back and brings back the people that weren't alive. And that I get emotional thinking about that. And actually, the character that I put in there was actually one of the guys that didn't make it, and looking up at this guy that's bringing his body back to be with his ohana. Anyway, that's the third water moment. The last one is his ashes being returned back to Kalia. So I took those 4 water moments, and I'm like, okay, these need to be moments that are artistically beautiful, but also very powerful, and just sort of go from there. So those moments were what kind of shaped the whole thing. And then I looked at it as like, oh, it's also sort of just paralleling one of the most difficult times in our history, right? So because he lived from, he was born into the kingdom became territory, and then it became a state. So he lived through all of that, and he navigated it in the best way that he could, and became a symbol for all of us, right? But the sort of the difficult things that I had to, sort of take in was the fact that, tourism was largely shaped by him. He was he became the face of Hawaii, the ambassador. And at the same time, it's like the rise of tourism, he was the face of it. And that's a difficult thing. That's a difficult pill to swallow when you think about this hero that is like, yeah, he's very Kanaka. He spoke Hawaiian. He was for the people. At the same time, he's like the image of that new, world coming in to infiltrate our kingdom.
Yeah, so. I mean, his statue is right in the middle of Waikiki.
Yeah.
And for a good reason.